What does the phrase internet language mean to you? Ones and zeros? HTML? Incomprehensible technical jargon? The internet's effect on the words we use and how we use them has been monumental. There's a dictionary's worth of new words. Clickbait, hashtag, facepalm, and pre-existing words which have taken on whole new meanings. 20 years ago, who would have thought you'd be able to build an entire career streaming Fortnite on Twitch? There are abbreviations, acronyms, initialisms, typographical tones of voice. And of course, there's the world of emoji, GIFs, and memes. But the problem with talking about these things as aspects of language is that for many of us, they counter all the rules we were ever taught about writing. And some even find them to be a bit silly. Newspapers don't tend to feature internet-specific slang much. Books aren't yet being written solely in tech speak, and for better or worse, writers of academic papers have yet to really embrace the possibilities of emoji. So for some, these new trends represent a lowering of the bar, the degradation of our most important tool for communication. But linguist Gretchen McCulloch doesn't buy this. In her 2019 book, Because Internet, she examines the impact that the internet has had on language and explains that this division between so-called proper writing and online writing is really just a developing fork in written language between formal and informal. And it isn't quite the linguistic apocalypse that many seem to believe. In our everyday lives, our spoken language varies radically depending on where we are and who we're talking to. A news anchor's straight-laced and formal tone would seem out of place at a children's birthday party. And a radio DJ's upbeat and informal banter probably wouldn't go down well at a funeral. This isn't a problem because we know the difference between formal and informal contexts, and we adjust accordingly. But for a long time, this range of styles wasn't reflected in written language. Pre-internet, the medium was mostly dominated by formal writing, published works, written and edited according to a stringent set of grammatical and stylistic guidelines. And this led to a sense that unlike spoken language, written language always had a strict right and wrong. But times have changed. A single tweet can reach thousands of people in seconds. Journalists are ditching publishers for blogging platforms with no style guides or editorial oversight. We're spending more and more time texting and reading social media posts that defy the traditional rules of writing. And because it was the internet that gave this informal writing a forum in which to flourish, we've come to think of it as internet language. It's notable that a lot of the resulting styles are attempts at injecting written language with the expression of spoken language, all caps for shouting, using alternative spellings to add emphasis or represent accents and dialects, throwing out grammatical rulebooks to imitate different tones of voice. Some styles come from the physical experience of typing on a keyboard, while others use pseudocode to imply meaning that would be obvious face-to-face but not in more formal writing. And over time, these written expressions have gotten more and more nuanced. When LOL first started being used in the 1980s, its meaning was pretty straightforward. A shorthand for indicating you were literally laughing out loud. But almost 4 decades later, it's morphed into something quite different, and a lot more subtle. The now lowercase lol is used to soften statements, to imply irony, to suggest nervous or social laughter. It indicates there's a second layer of meaning to be found, telling the recipient to look beyond the literal words you're saying. Now, this might all seem like nothing more than an expedition into linguistic nerdery. Maybe you think it's absurd to even refer to lol as a word at all. After all, it's not in the dictionary, except that actually, yes, it is. It was added to the Oxford English Dictionary back in 2011. Because dictionaries aren't just prescriptive, telling us how to use language, they're also descriptive, tracking how language and our common consent on how to use it changes over time. And this is the underlying point here. Language, says Gretchen McCulloch, is humanity's most spectacular open source project. Much like the internet itself, language is an evolving entity, continuously being shaped by the people using it. This is a process that's been going on for tens of thousands of years, and one that would have continued even if the internet had never been invented. But it was. And so internet language is really just language. The internet only happens to be the latest forum for this evolution to continue. And with over half the planet now online, it's inevitable that more communication between a more diverse community will lead to more diverse forms of communication. This is one of the fundamental ways that language grows, and we need to learn to embrace it. Because the limits of our language are the limits of our world.